Hello and welcome back to Business Meeting. My name is Molly Beck and I am normally here with my coworker, Jen Glantz. However, Jen is off today as someone is wont to do in a busy office. So I thought I would do a solo episode today. Jen and I are trying, since the show is kind of new, typically the show is the two of us come on together and we talk about today's business stories, but we want to be able to have like a fallback if one of us has other plans that morning. We're trying to come out every single day. And so we're trying different things that this is the first time I'm doing a solo episode. Probably next time I'm out, we might try something else, but we're trying to figure out how we can have like a repeatable format, even if one of us is off in the morning. So this is our attempt at that today. We're going to have just me. I just got the Wall Street Journal off my front steps. I just unboxed it. And I thought it would be interesting if I did a little perusal of today's paper, kind of like an unboxing of the news. And my goal is to read it with you, and then to give you 2 or 3 points that, you probably have a real business meeting, or maybe you have a chat with someone you're trying to impress, whether that's a crush or your parents, that you're trying to show them that you're an adult that reads the news. So I thought I might try to read this and then give you a couple talking points. Here's my first tip when opening the Wall Street Journal. The first page is the first section is kind of like the scary stuff. I don't mind the scary stuff, but we don't really talk about it on the show. But the scary stuff is like, it's usually sad. And it's usually very international. And I think it's very important to know about, but typically the stuff we cover on the show is the second section, and that's business and finance. In the business and finance section today is, let's see, what do we have here? Google is shaking up their AI leadership. Isn't it interesting? I feel like everywhere I go, business or not, people are talking about what sort of leaders are ready in an age of AI to move a company forward. And I've thought a lot about this. What sort of leadership do we need when the whole entire business model is upended? And I actually think what we need leaders that are calm, that are not reactionary, and that are early adopters. And I think it's really hard to find calm, non-reactionary early adopters. By definition, an early adopter is someone that likes to be on the cutting edge. Maybe they're more like curious or interested about what's coming or what's next. And it's hard to find someone that is like pushing the boundaries, but also reads as really calm and reassuring. So I think if you, at your company, if y'all are trying to figure out what type of leader should we hire as we change our business model, I would look for someone that is personally curious, an early adopter themselves, but also has a very calm presence, like steady, kind of like, they always say a duck paddling underneath, and then they're calm on the surface, but paddling underneath. That's the vibe. So I guess Google's shaking up their leadership because they're trying to figure it out themselves. Next thing, I live in Florida. Disney is very hot here. I know many people that work at Disney, and I also go to Disney myself. The main story today is Disney eyes free streaming option. The header, Disney is considering launching a free ad-supported channels on its streaming portfolio. Oh, this is interesting. And will add more sports content to Disney Plus as it looks to make the platform a centerpiece of the company. Isn't it interesting? Like when you hear Disney, you almost, not all the time, but it could be because I live in Florida. But when I hear Disney, I typically think of like the parks. But the vast majority of the way that most of the world experiences Disney is through their streaming platform. It's through Disney Plus. So it sounds like, here's your talking point on this. Anytime today when someone in your life mentions sports, you just say, oh, did you hear Disney Plus is adding more sports options? Yeah, it's interesting. They're trying to get into that. That's all you have to say. It looks like you're up on the news. You're up on sports. You're up on Disney Plus. Very interesting. Okay, so now, remember yesterday, in yesterday's news, we covered SpaceX and how their revenue was up, I believe it was 92%. Of course, they're back on the front page today of the business section. Now their shares are sagging because people think they're spending too much on AI. I think if you are an investor in SpaceX, you have signed on for a bit of a bumpy ride. I think you could make some serious money, but I think that you're okay with a bumpy ride as the markets figure out how they want to value SpaceX. Because don't forget, SpaceX has three very different business models. They do literally space stuff, they do connectivity with Starlink, and they also do like AI, which is just a catch-all term. I feel like in the future, when people are like, oh, like they do, like no one now would say like, oh, they do internet. They might say they do digital, which is kind of like a term for, I think it's like a term for like media and social, kind of, but nobody says like, oh, they're an internet XYZ. And now when people are like, oh, they do AI, I feel like even in like 2 or 3 years, that term will be much more dialed in. Okay. Wow. No surprise here. Bankers are reaping supersized bonuses. You know what they say, and the rich get richer. Yeah, they have an interesting chart about how the revenues, the 5 banks that they call out here that are having really large bonuses are Citigroup, Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, and JP Morgan. Those are kind of like the bigger players in the space. Now, this is interesting. CVS Health is going to offer GLP-1s through a partnership with Eli Lilly. That's really interesting. I heard a stat that like 1 in 7 or 1 in 8 adult Americans are on a GLP-1. I can't imagine that with more distribution channels and won't even go higher than that. I'd be interested what other medicines are as widespread. And like, think of how fast the adoption has been. This is so cute. In the story about Toy Story, and in the story about Disney, they do a still from Toy Story. Has anyone seen it? Toy Story 5, the new one. I have not seen it, but I love that song, I Knew It, I Knew You by Taylor Swift. And I saw the cutest reel yesterday or maybe it was TikTok, where this couple was getting married and they already had like a really cute little girl. And the 3 of them were doing like a family dance to I Knew It, I Knew You at their wedding. It was just adorable. Okay, New York Times. New York Times falls on subscriber outlook. It's really challenging to make money on a subscriber-based legacy print business. It doesn't mean that it's impossible, but it means that it's challenging. Honestly, if I was running the New York Times, you know what I would do? I would take like our 40 or 50 most popular opinion columnists. I would do a huge partnership with Substack, and I would honestly pivot the majority of the digital business to newsletters, which is what they kind of do, but I would probably run it all through Substack for discovery. And then what would I do with the print version? The problem is you need someone to do like hard news. Like not everything can be opinion. I feel like so much on the web is just opinion, including even this show. But it's a real challenge because it's very expensive, but it's so needed for society for hard journalism. But people, I don't know if like the new generation is like, I feel like I'm a big rarity that I get the print version of something. So yeah, more to come on what I would do if I was the New York Times. I think I would definitely lean into the newsletter business really hard with our opinion columnists, but I don't know how I would necessarily fund the hard journalism side. Okay, so as a reminder, in your work today, when people talk about AI leadership, you're going to say, I think we need someone that's like calm, but personally curious, an early adopter. Great. Perfect. That's what you're going to say when someone mentions hiring at your company. When anyone mentions sports, you're going to say, oh, did you see that Disney Plus is going to add more sports content? Perfect. Relevant, topical, Disney, sports. You nailed it. And then the third, I feel like I can't go a day without someone mentioning like Elon. And when someone does, you can say, oh man, do you see the SpaceX stocks? They're all over the place. They were just so up. Now they're so down. Every day is different. I feel like it's a way to seem like pretty stock market relevant without like tying it to hard numbers. And when someone says, why are Elon stocks all over the place? You can just be like, it's crazy, man. Okay. Oh, also, this is my coffee for today. Isn't this so cute? This little cup right here has tiny little bees on it. I got it because I thought Jen can't make our meeting today because she's a busy little bee. Thank you so much for coming to the business meeting. This was a solo episode. Just wanted to give you a little taste of the day before you go take on the day. I'm working on an intro outro. I usually am the one that does the intro outros on these, and I need to work on it. I need to have something a little tighter. But thanks for joining. Hope you have a most wonderful day. Bye, guys.